Shawana is back with WanaTalk. We have a very special guest today, Shakeima Chapman, who's a wife, a mother, author, realtor, and most importantly, a believer. She's been recognized multiple times as a realtor of distinction. Shakeima, in reading your book, Possess the Land, The Believer's Guide to Home Buying, future home buyers could be compared to the children of Israel in often not being able to see the promised land because of their lack of faith and action. What inspired and motivated you in writing Possess the Land, The Believer's Guide to Home Buying?
So I would like to say I just inspirationally came up with it, but how the book actually came into play, at my church, we have a Monday noonday service, and I attended the service, and during the service, the minister that leads the service that Monday, she has a very prophetic gift. Okay. And she just stopped in the middle of what she was doing and looked at me and she just said, a book. You're going to write a book, and it's going to be a teaching tool. And now you got to understand, me and my relationship with God is a little different than anybody else. I'm like, Lord, what is going on here? So about 2 weeks later, I was actually sitting in my bathtub, and the title just dropped in my spirit, Possess the Land, The Believer's Guide to Home Buying. And it took about 3 years from that time, sometimes a little disobedience on my part, sometimes a little hard-headed. It takes a little while for me to do what I need to do. But just through praying and fasting, the book came into play. But the thing about it, and what I love about God, is He gives us so many opportunities to fulfill what He's placed in us. So it kept coming to me in different shapes and forms. And I tried to shortcut it. I thought I could do just a little postcard and send it out to churches with this message, but God really took me back to the book. And so that's what really inspired me. So even in my acknowledgement, I always say the book is co-authored by the Holy Spirit, because it truly is a message that I could have only gotten from God.
Right. And if it's used, it definitely will change lives, because I'm telling you, that's what the leading of the Holy Spirit does. It's such an easy read. As you stated in the book, breaking free from the slavery of renting. That was powerful.
Yeah, and that was for those that don't know about the book, it really takes the journey that the children of Israel took from their escape from Egypt to the promised land, and it parallels it to the journey that I see home buyers take from breaking free from renting and then walking into the home of the promised land that God has given them. And that's exactly what He equated it to me. It was, renting was like slavery. And I think for me, that personal personification of that came more so in the story that I tell about my grandmother, who had rented her home for over 30 years. And when, I don't know about you, but your grandmother's house is more than just a house.
Yes.
It's a place where your family gathers for holidays, Sunday dinners, and that's what my grandmother's house was for me.
The traditions.
And so when she lost that house because she was a renter for over 30 years, so she paid for it. At that point, but when her landlord died, the children took over, and so the house, actually they raised the rent so she couldn't afford it, and then they sold the house. And so that for me just triggered something that, renting, there's no power in renting. And so, that's the similarity that God gave me, that just like the children of Israel were under bondage of being in Egypt, renting is just like that. And so that's where that came from.
Yes, powerful. You also provided tips and action plans. What's your next step?
Right. So the reason there's tips and action steps in the book is because I always use the mantra, information will inspire you, but it's the action that you take that will actually transform you. So I didn't want it to be just another book that, gave you all these ideas. I wanted people to have step-by-step actions. And so that's where the book came. What's next? Because sometimes when you read something, you may need a little hands-on. So I've actually working on and have developed a workbook that I'm going to be launching classes, the Possess the Land home buyer workshops. And then from there, I also want to be able to provide tools to other agents so that they can teach. So I don't know where God is going to take this message, but it's my desire to take it across the nation. I actually have proof that my book made it as far as Colorado. So
Whoa,
wherever
awesome.
God takes it, that's where I'm just going to, I've learned about just going to Nineveh. And like, I don't want to be like Jonah anymore because I've been in the belly of the whale. So I'm just going to continue to do as the Holy Spirit leads me.
Yes. And every time we listen to his voice and he leads us into the next step in the next direction, you know, it's often for us, but it's often for so many other people as well. So to future home buyers, to those of you that know anyone who's even afraid of the home buying process, real estate agents, realtors, get the book for potential clients. As I stated, it's an easy read with loads of information. It's very, very informational. Shakeima, how can listeners purchase this book?
Okay, so there is a website, howtopossesstheland.com is my website, or if they're already on Amazon, they can purchase the book on Amazon as well.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Listeners, stay tuned for more WanaTalk, Wanna Buy a House. As stated by Shakeima, remember, don't die in the wilderness. Don't give up.